The compound was always too quiet. Even the birds seemed to fly past in silence. Adaora, just 16, had grown used to the hush that hung over their 3-bedroom bungalow like a warning. Nothing moved unless her father allowed it. Mr. Namdi was the kind of man people bowed to. Tall, polished, always in white senator wear and dark sunglasses, even when the sun had gone down. He spoke in calm, calculated tones, and when he smiled, it never reached his eyes. To the village, he was a generous man. He donated rice during Christmas, paid for road repairs, even sponsored some children's WAEC fees. God bless Chief Namdi, they would say. But God never lived in their house. Adaora knew. She felt it in the way her father's footsteps made her stomach tighten. In the way he stared at her when she thought he wasn't looking. In the way his voice could fill a room without ever rising above a whisper. Her mother had died when Adaora was 9. One morning she just didn't wake up. It was the will of God, they'd told her. But even at 9, Adaora saw the bruises. She saw the way her mother flinched when his shadow crossed the room. Since then, it had just been the two of them. No siblings. No warmth. Just silence, and Adaora, shrinking smaller each day in her own home. She spoke little, smiled less, and flinched at sudden movements. Every evening, as the sun painted the compound in golden light, she'd sit under the orange tree in the backyard, pretending the wind could carry her away. But deep inside, a truth was growing, dark and heavy. Something was wrong. Something had always been wrong. And no one dared to ask why. The sky had been angry that night. Thunder cracked through the clouds like a warning, but the house, as usual, remained still. Rain danced violently on the zinc roof while wind rattled the windows. Adaora sat curled up in bed, hugging her pillow, trying to drown the noise in her ears. She had always hated storms. But not as much as she hated what came with them. Darkness and the sound of her father's footsteps outside her door. She heard them. Low, steady. And then they stopped. Her door creaked open, not hurriedly, but with intent. Mr. Namdi stepped in, the strong scent of alcohol trailing behind him. His eyes gleamed strangely in the flickering candlelight. He didn't speak. He never did. Words would have made it real. Instead, he sat on her bed, his weight bending the mattress. Adaora's entire body tensed. Her heartbeat became thunder of its own. She didn't scream. Couldn't. Her voice had buried itself deep inside her chest, hiding somewhere her father couldn't reach. Or so she thought. When his hand reached for her, something inside her shattered. The world blurred. Time lost its shape. All that remained was the sound of the rain, the heaviness of the air, and the taste of her own tears as they slid silently into her mouth. Afterward he left. Just like that. As if nothing had happened. As if she was nothing. The door closed behind him, and for a long time Adaora didn't move. She couldn't feel her legs. Her chest hurt. Her hands shook. The candle had died. She finally stood weakly and staggered to the bathroom. She turned on the tap and scrubbed. Her skin, her arms, her neck. She scrubbed until it turned red. But it wasn't enough. She wanted to scrape it off, every memory, every touch, every trace. But the pain wasn't on her skin. It was lodged somewhere deeper, somewhere soap couldn't reach. And that night, as the storm began to fade, Adaora sat in the corner of her room, knees to chest, her arms wrapped tightly around herself like a shield. Her body was still trembling. Her heart had gone silent. And for the first time, she truly understood what it meant to be alone. The morning after, Adaora didn't eat. Her food went cold. Her eyes stayed fixed on the cracks in the floor. When Mr. Namdi walked past her, whistling and adjusting his watch like he hadn't shattered her soul the night before, she knew she had to speak. Someone had to know. The first person she told was her Auntie Chinyu, the woman who braided her hair every Christmas and always smelled of dusting powder. They sat under the mango tree. Adaora whispered, trembling, "Daddy, he touched me." Chinyu blinked. Once. Then slapped her so hard Adaora's ears rang. "You this useless girl. So now you want to destroy your father's name." Adaora didn't speak again that day. She went to her school's guidance counselor next. A gentleman. Teacher. She sat in his office, her hands shaking. But as soon as she mentioned her father's name, his posture changed. "You mean Chief Namdi? That man that gave us new chairs last term?" He leaned forward, voice lowered. "Listen, Adaora. Sometimes the devil plays tricks on the mind. Go home. Focus on your studies. Still she tried once more. Church. In the confessional, to the priest she had grown up seeing behind the pulpit. His voice was flat. You must pray harder. Sometimes the devil uses dreams to torment young girls. Stay away from impure thoughts. She walked home slowly that day. Her shoes gathered dust. Her shoulders sagged. The betrayal wasn't just from her father anymore. It was from the people who were supposed to protect her. Her voice became a burden no one wanted to carry. She stopped going to school. Her friends noticed, but she brushed them off. What was the point of speaking when truth sounded like lies in everyone's ears? Days turned into weeks, and Adaora's body began betraying her in new, terrifying ways. Her stomach twisted every morning. The scent of palm oil made her gag. And her period, usually like clockwork, was nowhere to be found. She counted again. 4 weeks late. Her heart pounded with every sunrise. One afternoon, while Madame Stella dozed off on the living room couch, Adaora snuck out. Her slippers barely made a sound on the tiled floor. She walked briskly to the roadside chemist, a shaky N500 note clutched in her sweaty palm. The woman behind the counter didn't ask questions, just handed her the test with a knowing look. Back home she waited until evening. The compound was still. Crickets chirped. Adaora sat crouched behind the chicken coop, her hands trembling as she urinated into the tiny plastic cup. She dipped the strip in, her breath shallow. Seconds stretched like hours. Then 2 lines. Clear, bold, cruel. Her scream ripped through the compound, raw and uncontrollable. She clutched her stomach and fell to her knees in the dirt, eyes wide with disbelief, horror, pain. Madame Stella came running, wrapper tied carelessly around her chest. Adaora. What is it? Adaora couldn't speak. She just held out the test, tears streaming down her face. Madame Stella snatched it, stared at the lines, then at Adaora. Her face twisted. So you've joined bad girls, then? You've started sleeping around. Under my roof. I didn't. Adaora's voice cracked. Shut up. Useless girl. The slap echoed in the still air. That night, Adaora sat alone in the backyard, the test still clutched in her fist. No one asked questions. No one held her. No one believed her. She was 16, pregnant, and completely, painfully alone. By the 5th month, her belly refused to hide. The loose gowns could no longer conceal the truth stretching her skin. And once the bump appeared, so did the whispers, sharp, unforgiving, and loud enough to pierce her bones. Look at her. A Shawo small girl. She couldn't even wait to finish secondary school. Maybe it's one of those jobless boys in the next village. Everywhere Adaora passed, mouths twisted, eyes rolled, fingers pointed. Even children repeated what they heard from their parents. She started walking with her head down, arms wrapped around her growing stomach, as if she could shield it from their shame. Her father, with cold eyes and a smooth tongue, told the village it wasn't pregnancy. It was a spiritual attack. Something is wrong with my daughter, he announced to the elders. I suspect possession. The next Sunday, they took her to a deliverance service in one of those loud, spirit-filled churches. The kind where prayer sounded like war. Pastor Emeka stood in front of her, anointing oil in hand, voice raised. Spirit of Jezebel, come out. The choir clapped. Ushers surrounded her. Adaora trembled as strange hands gripped her shoulders, her head, her arms. She shook. Not from spirits, but from the memory. From shame. From pain that had no name. And then she screamed. Loud. Wild. It's my father. Everything stopped. For a second, just 1 second, the room went silent. But then Pastor Emeka continued. The demon is speaking through her. Pray harder. They pressed her to the ground. She wept breathless. Her truth had escaped her lips, but no one caught it. No one listened. No one believed. By the end of the service, she was exhausted. Her body ached. Her voice was gone. And her pain had only just begun. The chickens scattered as Adaora dropped to her knees behind the coop. Her face buried in her palms, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the compound. Everyone else was inside, eating, talking, laughing, living. But not her. That was when she felt it. A gentle tap on her shoulder. She looked up, startled, and saw the wrinkled face of a woman she hadn't noticed before. "I didn't mean to frighten you, child," the woman said softly. Her wrapper was faded, her feet bare, and her eyes. They looked like they had seen too much. She was new in the compound. Nobody paid her much attention. "Till now. They call me Mama F," she said. "I live in the boys' quarters behind your father's store." Adaora nodded slowly, wiping her tears, trying to stand. But Mama F crouched beside her. "You've been crying every evening. The ground carries your sorrow," she whispered, her voice calm but deep, almost ancient. "But your mother, she's been crying too. From the other side." Adaora froze. "What?" Mama F's eyes narrowed, studying her face. "You're not mad. You're not cursed. Something is wrong. And your mother's spirit won't rest until it is exposed." Adaora swallowed hard, her heart pounding. "Bring me something that belonged to her. A wrapper, a ring, anything. But it must be hers alone. No one else's energy on it." For the first time in months, Adaora felt something other than fear. Something like a flicker of hope. She nodded slowly, wiping her face. Mama F stood and walked away, her footsteps quiet as feathers. Adaora stayed there a while, her hand still tingling where the old woman had touched her. Maybe, just maybe, someone was finally listening. That night, under a moonless sky, Adaora tiptoed to the wooden box her mother once kept beneath the bed. The scent of old camphor and dust filled her nostrils as she opened it. Inside lay a faded wrapper, blue and gold, frayed at the edges but still holding the scent of palm oil and perfume. It was the last cloth her mother had worn before she died. She wrapped it tightly and crept out to Mama F's quarters, heart pounding like a talking drum. The room smelled of burning herbs. Leaves crackled in a small clay pot at the center. Candles flickered in each corner. A cracked mirror rested before the fire, its surface dull and uneven. "Sit," Mama F instructed, her voice steady but distant. Adaora knelt. Mama F took the wrapper gently, placed it beside the fire, and began chanting in low, ancient tones. Her fingers moved rhythmically, tossing dried leaves, palm oil, and chalk into the flames. The mirror trembled. The smoke grew thicker, swirling upward like spirits stretching for air. Then it happened. The mirror's surface glowed blood red. And slowly, as though painted by an invisible hand, an image appeared. Mr. Namdi's face. Cold, murking, hovering right above Adaora's swollen belly. Mama F gasped and clutched her chest. "Oh, Chinique!" Without saying a word, she reached for her old Nokia phone and began recording. Suddenly, the flame danced higher, burning blue at its core. A woman's voice broke through the crackling fire. Raspy. Familiar. "He silenced me," it said. "Don't let him silence her." The flame popped. The mirror shattered. Silence returned. Adaora stared at the shards on the ground. Her breath caught somewhere between terror and truth. And Mama F, hand shaking, clutched the phone like it was gold. By dawn, the video had left Mama F's phone. She had gone to a cybercafe 2 compounds away, wrapped in an old shawl and dark glasses. She uploaded it anonymously to the inbox of Odogwu 97.5 FM, a station known for its fearlessness. "Urgent. Please share," the message read. The station didn't hesitate. By nightfall, the post had exploded on Facebook. Over 100,000 views. Ears, comments, anger, disbelief. The voice of a dead woman. The image of a respected man's face hovering over a girl's womb. Nigerians were watching and reacting. Some called it spiritual nonsense. Others screamed for justice. By morning, Adaora stirred in her sleep, unaware the world now knew, until she heard it. Voices, shouting, loud, urgent, name. She sat up, confused. Outside the compound walls, people gathered. Neighbors, strangers, phones raised high. The gate shook from fists banging. Someone screamed, "Where is the girl? Where is Adaora?" Her heart leapt. Before she could move, the door burst open. Mr. Namdi stood there, eyes bloodshot, hair uncombed, phone clutched in his fist. "You did this," he hissed. She backed away on the bed, mouth open but words trapped in her throat. "You think you're clever," he barked, waving the phone. "Do you know what you've done?" His hand twitched. He took a step forward. And just as he reached for her, the screen fades to black. A single line appears. To be continued. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell, so you don't miss the emotional twists and revelations in part 2. You won't want to miss what happens next.